today I am going to cover one of the Minikins created by Myka Jelina. I think that's how you say her name. It's right there. I'll leave a link in the description below. I believe you can buy this Minikin by herself. However, I got it in one of her Minikin set books. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's sold individually. She normally does sell them individually, but I don't know once she prints the actual book if they are. But this is called Belladonna, and that was a really long segue into that. And I'm going to color this with Ohuhu markers. So I have printed this using a LaserJet printer. If you are printing out your coloring pages using an inkjet, you do need to keep in mind that some inks are water soluble from inkjet printers, so you may get some bleed, like the black will bleed. So that's something to keep in mind. If that is the case with your page, spray it with a fixative, let it sit for 24 hours, then you should be able to work on it. Not all inkjets use water soluble ink, but just in case you do notice that issue. Okay. Anyway, I printed this on my hammer mill. I used to use the 80-pound color copy cover. I hope I said that right. But they no longer have the 80-pound unless you want to buy it in bulk, meaning like a whole box, which I don't need. So I have downgraded to the 60-pound, and that works just as well. So I've also linked that below. And yeah, we're going to work with our Ohuhus. So I have the full set of Ohuhus. I call mine the OG Ohuhus because I had purchased these a long time ago, back before there were this many markers. But this is the Honolulu series, so brush and chisel tip. I did get this chart here from Becky's DIY color charts on Etsy that has all of the sets combined. Because if you are like me and you bought your Ohuhus a long time ago, they would have come in different sets. Like they had the pastel set, the mid-tones, I don't even know. It just kept expanding. So this includes all of them. And then I guess they're coming out with a 320 with a brush. So I don't even know. Or have they already? I don't follow it because I'm just like, All right, so we're going to start off with these colors for the hair, which are RV 320 apricot pink, R23 rose pink, and R21 fruit pink. Why? I don't know. I just felt like doing pink hair. All right. So grab. Ooh, I could do this actually, as long as the thing isn't too dirty there. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my RV 320. I want to kind of. I'm testing it out here to see what I think. So I'm going on some of these darker areas. Now, this is the dark grayscale version. You can get if you buy the PDF book, I know for a fact they have, or she has, the light grayscale in there. I just went with the dark grayscale because, I don't know, it's Halloween, it's dark. Okay, yeah, I think that'll work just fine. I did not test these combos. This is just kind of more of a relaxed color / chat. But I'm just taking my RV 320, and that's basically my darkest color. It's actually quite a bright color, but it's my darkest in this one. And then switch to R23. I had done a poll a while ago asking which markers people wanted to learn with, and Ohuhu by far, that one hasn't been opened in a while, was the winner. So, and it works out because this month is O is for October in our alphabet coloring challenge. So hey, what do you know? Now, if you don't have the hammer mill, you can print this on like a Nina cardstock. Just keep in mind, going back to RV 320, the reason I use this one is because, went out of the lines. It acts just like Express It blending card. So your marker stays wet longer so that you can blend. It like doesn't sit there and absorb, it stays on the surface. So yeah, I got a lot better blends. And that's why I like this paper. Basically, you just want a really, really smooth cardstock if you plan on using markers or you know you're going to use markers, so that you have time to blend out the color. Like a Nina is very thirsty. It's great for pencils, but your markers just soak right into it. And that's the problem, is they'll soak right in, and your blend, you can still do a good blend, don't get me wrong, but you'll just notice it'll be a little different. It won't blend as easily. Sometimes your blend might look a little wonky. So that's just something to keep in mind. Wow, I can't stand the lines today. Other thing is on this paper, it won't bleed out. Like sometimes the paper will absorb the ink and then it causes it to bleed out of the lines. It won't on this because it's not thirsty. Not a thirsty paper. Let's see what blends out. Yeah, I think that'll look all right. All right, let's keep going. Originally, I was going to do a purple hair, but then I was like, oh, I might do her dress in a nice purple. One thing with the Ohuhus is I feel they're really lacking in purples. They have a lot of purples. So what am I trying to say here? I don't feel like it's a good selection of purples. Like, and I'll show you when I start picking colors for the dress, but it's just kind of like, you look at it and you go, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of purple, but they're not exactly in a good blending family order, I guess, is where I'm going with that. So I find Ohuhu's a little wacky when it comes to blending purples. I'm just gonna say that's her hair back here. Looks like she's got, no, those are her wings. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out what's what in here. So but yeah, I'm just using the RV 320 in my darker areas. And yeah, I could leave these markers uncapped. It's just a habit. It's not like they're going to evaporate in 5 seconds if I leave the cap off, but it's a habit of mine to just put the cap back on. It's not necessarily a bad habit. All I can say is make sure you open the lid of your marker away from your page, because on occasion your marker can get pressurized or it's just gunky inside and it can leave like flakes that come off onto your paper. But yeah, you can get little ink splatters. Just a simple 3-color blend, and the reason I'm doing it simple is I know a lot of you are new to markers. So I thought this would be a fun one because the poll, it seemed like most people had Ohuhu. Not everyone. I know there was a few that wanted Copic. So I'll see if maybe I have time to do a Copic one. And then a few of you had like the Artesas. Pretty much no one voted for the Blix. So I was like, that one's a no-go. What was the other one? Oh, Color It markers was another one. I can't remember the other. But I know most people have Ohuhu. You know, it's that budget-friendly brand. Yeah, I went over that here, but I don't care. So yeah, I figured probably a safe bet to start with the Ohuhu. And let's just go from there. And I do like the Ohuhus, however, I'll just keep going. I will admit I'm not a big fan of the nib. I really like the Copic nib. And then the other thing is right now, so at the time I'm filming this, so for some reason you're watching this years later, and Ohuhu has finally released refills. Please don't correct me on this, but as of right now, there are no refills. Now I know they keep mentioning that they're going to have them. They've also been saying that since like I've known about the brand, so I honestly don't know how that's gonna work. And even if they came out with refills, yes, that would definitely make these ridiculously affordable. I have a feeling they would end up raising the price though if your one and done marker becomes a reusable marker, because it is in fact becoming now an investment. I just don't see how they're gonna make these refillable at the price point they are right now. Either that or charge a crap ton for the refill. But yeah, I know they keep saying, I don't know what that is, but we're gonna call it hair. They keep saying they're gonna come out with refills. But even then, I like the Copic inks. Not all, I mean, alcohol ink is alcohol ink, yes, but there's something about the colors from Ohuhu too. They really did some work when they came up with those colors, and they just blend so beautifully. Ohuhu has gone through so many changes since they came out. Right down to the color code changing on you, which was really frustrating. And then, yeah, you know, they've been adding to their collection so that they have more, because obviously they started with just a few. So they're slowly adding to the collection and whatnot, but at the end of the day, the Copic colors, the performance of the nib, I just love. I know a few people that refill their Ohuhus with Copic ink. But yeah, I mean, I can't do that. At that point, you might as well just go buy empty Copics on eBay. People sell their empties on eBay, and then you can refill those. Because the Ohuhu colors don't line up perfectly with Copic. There's some, of course, but yeah, they don't line up perfect. So you do want to keep that in mind. But also, you're still using this cheap nib. And one thing I have noticed is inconsistency with the Ohuhu nibs. Like, some will be firmer. Like this one here on this RV one is pretty firm, but not like, it doesn't have much give at the tip of the brush. So it's not, I can't manipulate it like I can the Copic nib. And then on occasion you'll get nibs that are extra soft in Ohuhu. And the reason I'm bringing that up is I recently re-swatched all my Ohuhus. And I noticed, I was like, huh, this nib is really squishy. Well, this one's not. And it's not from use. I haven't used, I honestly don't use my Ohuhus a ton. So it's not from use. Like this one here is very soft nib. So yeah, just like an inconsistency with the nibs. But Yeah, I've, let's see, I'm trying to think the last time I broke out my Ohuhus. It's been a while since I started getting Copics and then the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend, which I really like, but I know they're not very popular because especially that extension set is so hard to get. I mean, you just have to wait and hope it pops on Amazon. So those are hard. The Blick ones are just eh. Arteza comes in all those sets with an overlap. So yeah, Ohuhus are a lot more accessible. But yeah, I don't use them as much, but the good news is I can testify that they don't dry out quickly because I have not used mine in at least a year, I would say. I'm trying to think when the last time is that I pulled out an Ohuhu. I honestly can't remember. I tend to use my markers a lot more in around Halloween for some reason. I think it's because a lot of the images I have just are chunkier or just screen marker. I don't know. Actually, I really don't know. I thought about that when I was doing my video for like what I wanted to color this fall. I was like, ooh, I want to use markers on that. I want to use markers on that. And then I'm like, gosh, I seem to use my markers come Halloween fall time. All right. Still going with the hair. This is all in real time. I'm not going to speed anything up for the sake of my sanity in editing. But I will leave chapters. So if you take a break, or like you're like, okay, I get it. I got the hair combo. I'm ready to move on. You can just skip ahead to the next section. But yeah. No sped up. Nothing. Just real-time coloring. I do like that markers make finishing a page a lot faster. No, it doesn't seem that way right in the moment, but they really are a lot quicker with a medium. I mean, if I was flicking all this out in hair, we would still be over here. So, for pencils. Ooh, some of these little gems and stuff would look cute with some stickles too. I think actually I'm just going to color that all in because it's so dark right there. Now you can get her Minikins in line art. I don't think you can get them in both. It's either grayscale or line art. I went with grayscale because I like grayscale, but I know not everyone does. You can get her Minikins in line art form. And all of her stuff isn't like gothy like this either. In fact, this is the only Halloween-ish one in that Minikins book that I bought. In fact, there's a couple Christmassy ones in there. But yeah, it's like the sets, I think, only have 6 per set, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. But I was like, oh, this would be perfect for Halloween. Oops. Keep this marker lid out. It's such a bright pink when you put it down, but when you have it on the swatch chart next to all your other pinks, it really doesn't look that bold. In the background, I'll probably do Distress ink because that blends really nicely on this paper. I'm just going to color that one all in. Let's see. I think that's... Hopefully my Alexa pinging in the background didn't come through on my camera. I had to pause. I have reminders set on my Alexa to put the dogs outside because I'll get caught up in art or work or something, and then I'll totally forget to put my dogs out. And I'm not so worried about good old Scout. Call her old, but she's not. She's 2. But I'm not so much worried about her. It's actually our newest husky, who is not the youngest, but she's the newest to our family. Her name is Indy. She's over a year old, and she's housebroken, but she likes to go sneak off and just randomly go potty in the house, and I don't know why. So I'm like making sure that she goes out a lot and kind of retraining her, but we've had her since, gosh, like May. I know it was summertime, or close to. It's weird. The hair, I think the artist meant to put the grayscale in. See those little white spots there? We're gonna say it's hair. So yeah, I don't know what her deal is. She's lived with us long enough to know better. It's not like this is a new environment. Sometimes I actually think she just does it to get back at us. Huskies are hard little things to decode because they're very intelligent, very stubborn, and they are seriously like humans. I mean, you almost have to put your husky in timeout like you would a toddler. I mean, they throw tantrums like a toddler. Only worse, because you can't like just, walk away and be like, okay, come get me when you're done. Because instead they just follow you and keep barking. All right. Except Indy, she actually doesn't talk yet. So okay, almost done. Then we're gonna have to pick some new colors. Oops, totally got that on the hand. Hang on a sec. I'm just gonna take a colorless blender. I happen to grab an Ohuhu one, but any brand will do. I'm just kind of going over that and pushing it back to where I had it. Because a colorless blender, when you put it on top of a marker, it basically acts like an eraser. It just sucks up the pigment. It's kind of fun. But if you ever go to like blend your markers out after you put them down and you're like, where did my color go? That's why. They don't blend that way. You're technically supposed to put them down first. Which I know is kind of weird. All right, did we get all the hair? I think so. Oh, that's cuteness. Super cuteness. Okay. I guess we'll probably do her skin. I haven't done skin in Ohuhus in forever. Oh, actually, let's do her lips real quick. I'll probably submit this for the Pink Hair, Pink Lip Woman, hosted by Nirma Coloring. So let's do R23. Okay. And then our lightest color, R21. And then I'm gonna add some white highlight to that later. Okay. All right, skin tones. I have all like right here. I mean, obviously we want her to be a little more pale. But I think I'll do a normal skin tone, not like a green or blue or anything. Gosh. All right, let me see. All right, I'm gonna grab some colors and then I'll be right back. Okay, so hopefully these work. I know one of our colors is running low. I guess we'll find out. So I picked YR070, which is light orange, E470 Tea Rose, R18 Barely Beige. I'm hoping this YR one isn't too orangey. I don't know. It's really orangey on my paper, but I was grabbing it because the grayscale is so dark. I'm just gonna leave the lids off. Okay, so then we got our 470. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Then I'm just gonna keep them in order off to the side here. R19, yeah, so here's one where the nib is really soft. Now I'm going over the whole thing. Oh, look and see. Come on, camera, zoom in. See my nib? It's like all pointy. It's also fraying, but I think this is the one that's low on ink. It's gonna be an adventure. All right. Luckily there's a color close enough to it. Yeah, it's so salmon-y. Yeah, like the nib on that other one is so soft and fraying. But I might need to cut that because that little tidbit's gonna bug me. All right. I think we'll be okay with this orange. We're just gonna do it. If not, this video will never make it out of production. I'm just following the grayscale the artist has given us. Look at these big, luscious eyes. So all her Minikins kind of have like a big sister. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but like if you were to go buy the Minikin by itself, it usually shows the bigger girl version next to it, if that made any sense. Now I am overlapping my color I had placed before. Just keep in mind, anytime you overlap with a color, that lighter color is going to suck up some of that pigment. Oh, yeah, that nibby end is going to get me. And this is why I like to work with a paper that doesn't dry too quickly, just so that as I'm doing like a face, oh, this is the one that's running low on ink. Oh no. As I'm doing a face, you won't get streak marks. Oh, and this nib is awful on this one. It's like rock hard, and then it's got that fraying end, and I'm running low on ink. I need to make sure everything blends out. Also, never judge markers when they're wet. If you're new to markers, you might be like, oh my gosh, it looks awful. Just wait on that before you're like, you go back in and try to fix it, because wet marker versus dry marker are totally different. Yeah, this one is running out. Let me see if I have, okay, R19. R18, I guess we can try. If push comes to shove, I'm gonna see if I can stretch it. Right there, it looks like I might have missed a spot. Okay, there we go. Oops, no, leave the lid off. Luckily she doesn't have a ton of skin, so hopefully we can make this work. I haven't decided if the jewelry I want to color in marker or if I want to like break out some gel pen, you know, give her some sparkle, or even just using a nice gold metallic. Okay. Stay with us, R19. I may have to swap to the chisel side. Okay. Now get her arms. I might put some makeup on her face. We'll see. Remember to go over where you put marker down because we want this to blend out. All right, for sanity, I'm going to just snip off that one end. This marker's on its way out anyway. Okay. Let's get her hands. One thing I do like about the Ohuhus is the little nubbies they have so that they don't roll, because they are a circular barrel. So it's nice because they're not going to just move around. I mean, Copic are just oval shaped, so they're not going to move, period, but still, it's like a nifty little feature, so you don't have to worry about your markers moving around on you. There we go. You could do this with a 320 set, but I believe the numbers in the 320 set are different. Don't quote me on that. Okay. All right. So let's get her legs done. Ooh, that marker was still wet. Looks so orange. These Minikins are so cute. It took me a while to find this artist. Just one day I saw her artwork and I was like, oh, that's super adorable. And then I had bought her grayscale Minikin set and I accidentally duplicated my purchase. I don't know about you, but I wish Etsy would be like, hey, you've bought this before. You know how like Amazon does? You bought this on such and such date. Are you sure you want to buy this again? Etsy doesn't do that, so I accidentally bought the Minikins, one of the sets, twice. And so I emailed her and I was like, hey, is there any chance, because I bought it twice, I could like do a swap and get the other set for free technically. And she was really cool. She was like, oh yeah, no problem. And so she emailed me the other set because they're all the same price, the little Minikins books. But I was an airhead and ordered the same set. But I know she's coming out with a Minikins 4 soon because she's releasing the cute little girls on her Etsy store. And she even says in the description of them that they will be part of book 4 once she's done. And I forgot to count the most recent, but I know for sure there's 4 up there already. And usually she does sets of 6. So okay. these big chunky shoes. They remind me of, what was that shoe? It was popular when I was a kid. I'm gonna totally date myself by this statement, but gosh darn. Not Doc Martens, although those were popular when I was a kid. Oh, Mary Jane's. Right? Is that the name of that shoe? Mary Jane's? I think it is. So when I do markers, again, I'm still overlapping the previous color, I'll blend. But for skin, I tend to just kind of put my highlight towards the center. Okay. Let's see if we can't get... Let's see, I'm going over everything again. And like I said, don't judge markers when they're wet, because one, they don't look blended half the time. Two, they'll look splotchy, because as the alcohol is evaporating in some areas versus others. Just don't panic and start layering a bunch with your markers until you wait till it dries. So this one is really low. So I'm going to focus more on blending these ones, the outer edges where the darker color is. Ugh, what sucks is I don't think they have these open stock. So I'd have to buy whatever set that one came in. Okay. So yeah, her skin is like up here all dry. I'm debating though if we should add a little pop of pink, very light pink in her eyes. Do I have enough barely beige to buff it out? Let's find out. All right, let's find a real light pink. Ooh, shadow pink. So RV270. Okay, so I'm going to take the RV270 and then I'm going to take my barely beige color so that I'm able to buff it out and blend the pink. So I'm just going to kind of give her some shadow. Might not even have to blend it out. I'm going to run it over on this side though, because you can see it's going to be, you're basically blending the edges of it. Okay. All right. So, let me get, let's work on her shoes because I'm still debating on the dress, but her shoes and her wings, because those are both going to be black because I'm trying to bring my colors. So if I have a nice something black up here, I want to bring it down here. Okay, this took a little while because they're hard to find. I could not find my Ohuhu black, but now that I remember it, oh, come on, camera. My Ohuhu black got stolen by one of my kids. So I just grabbed my Arteza black, any black will do. And then I have, come on, Cool Gray number 28 and Cool Gray 9. I don't know why they have them labeled this way. It's very hard. And then let's see. 8's supposed to be the lighter one, I think. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a very awkward with their CGs, I should say. I don't know why they did it that way. So yeah, I'm going to use my Arteza black, but you can use your Ohuhu black and it'll be the same effect. It's just I couldn't find my Ohuhu black. It's just because I know my kids stole it for something. I told them to come upstairs and grab a Sharpie and they took an Ohuhu instead. At least it wasn't the Copic. So I'm making these black, but I want obviously like a little contrast. Wait until that dries. Okay. So let's see, around her. What's weird is I swear I had like 2 Ohuhu blacks. I swear like 2 sets I bought ended up giving me 2 blacks. But now I can't remember. Note to self, don't drink coffee when you're trying to stay in the lines. Just blend it out. Okay. It looks like a big blob right now, but it's because it's wet ink. But really, we're using the black minimally. I'm going to put it all inside here though, because we want it to have a highlight, so that's what the cool gray colors are for. I have to say, Ohuhu's numbering system for their grays was quite wacky. In fact, they have some that they call a warm gray that I'm like, that's a cool gray, and vice versa. So you sit there kind of like, So don't go off their color names and codes so much. I would just go by the looks of them on your chart, personally. Okay, I'm gonna set this down because it's really, for staying in these teeny tiny lines, I need my other hand to brace me. I just don't want any like residual ink that's sitting on the cap to get in my picture. Is the problem. There we go. Yeah, these do remind me of those chunky Mary Jane shoes. I remember I was just dying to get my hands on those shoes when I was growing up. And they were huge and chunky, very awkward to walk in. But hey, I was cool. Don't know if anyone else remembers that or has that experience. And I was in high school when Mary Janes were popular. Oh, that's cute. You can't quite see the highlight through the camera just yet, but in person you should see it. And then you'll start to see the highlight as these evaporate and dry. A wee bit more. And I am kind of working in small, bite-sized little sections instead of doing like the whole shoe at once, but that's just, I don't want to, for anyone who's a beginner and following along to the T, I don't want to jump ahead too much to the point where your markers dry out on you. Especially if you're not working with a paper made for marker. Well, actually, I should rephrase that because this paper wasn't exactly made for marker. But yeah, one that's marker friendly. There we go. And yeah, you could use Express It blending card, but gosh, that's really expensive. So unless I'm going to color something that I plan to like frame or give away, I am not going to use my Express It. That would be oh so expensive. And I might frame this one, you know, if it turns out cute and I want to frame it on my art studio wall, but still I'm not using my Express It blending card. Okay. Now, marker paper, because I've been asked this before, could you just print this out on marker paper? You could, but the problem is I've tried coloring pages on marker paper, and it bleeds, and I had a lot of issues. Like it would bleed out of the lines. I don't know, it was the weirdest thing. It would stay wet though, so I could blend, but that was about the only benefit I had there. Sorry, that was the black. By now you guys probably know though. But yeah, I had tried Arteza marker paper, which probably in hindsight might not have been the best paper, but all right. Let's get the lids back on those now. Actually, I lied. Which I might as well leave them off because we got to do the wings. But you should be able to start seeing how there's a little bit of contrast there. Might not totally show through on camera, but all right. This is the black. So for the wings, I'm just putting the black mostly in. Ooh, you know what would be fun is some of my black opal paint from Folk Art. That'd be really fun. Do not get it on the face. That would be really fun to add some sparkle to her wings. Okay. I'm trying to not get it on the skin or the hair here. Still blend it out. I don't know what her, oh, I went out of the lines. I don't know what her printed version, the paper it is that it comes on. I'm using a slider one to help blend some of that too. So I can't really say if it would be good for markers or not. I was tempted to buy one of the printed ones. They're $35. They were on sale the other day for like $31. I know it's not a huge savings, but every dollar counts. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to read what paper it was. And then I was like, well, I already have the PDF and I have the ability to print it. So unless it's printed on like watercolor paper, can't really justify it. Because that's the one paper type I can print on the Clairefontaine mixed media, but I can't print on other watercolor paper. Although the Clairefontaine one is pretty good paper. Okay. Again, on my side I can see the contrast. I don't know if you can on your side, but it's just going to be a lighting, but you should be able to kind of see it, see how it's lighter. All right. You know, for her eyelashes, I might use a finer tipped marker. We'll see. Okay, let's color these little skulls. I kind of want to use some of these warm neutrally colors that it's got. Warm gray 5 and 1 actually would be perfect. 1 WG050. Yeah, it's like warm gray 5, but it's 050. Okay. So warm gray 5, warm gray 1, and 1 is the lighter. I think that'll give these kind of a nice look of like bone. Might even have to go darker. But thanks to this having grayscale, don't really have to go crazy. I'm just kind of following the divots here. Yeah, the shadows that are naturally there from the artist as well. I'm not going to touch the teeth part yet. Okay. Then we'll grab our warm gray 01. Just color over the whole thing. Try not to get in the teeth. See, like the nib on this one's really hard. Oops, I had a piece of black that must have come off one of my black markers there. Okay. Oops, put the lid back on. Okay, we'll go back to our lighter one. Let's get those teeth. All right, now I'm gonna grab this darker one and just kind of deepen this up. Now, markers can be layered, so keep that in mind. You can actually layer your markers to get a darker color of the color you're putting down. It's like you could do layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and it'll deepen up. I wish I had a piece of paper I could show for example, but yeah. All right, now like if you've ever bought the Copic, I think they're called marketed as the Copic swatch cards, but they're like blending cards, and they have you do a layer 1, 2, 3, and it's so you can see how if you keep adding layers of that same color, how it changes. And it's really important to know that when you're working with a marker, because just like pencils, like you're going to get a different color. That's why like when you swatch your pencils, you want to do it in kind of a gradient, you know, showing heavy to light pressure, because heavy pressure obviously is going to be darker than a light pressure. Well, with markers, the pressure doesn't matter, but the layers do. Again, I'm just going over the whole thing. I'm just going to go right over the teeth, because we do the teeth in a light color anyway. I'm thinking to debating between a nice dark purple or a really dark blue for her dress. It's hard to say. Decisions. Okay. A little dark over here. It's really fun to blend markers once they start to get really wet on the paper, and you can just feel it. You feel the wetness, but see how that second layer already deepened that side? Okay. Alright. Or even a teal dress. Oh, see, now I'm getting myself in trouble. Alright, we're gonna do a purple dress. Yeah. A nice dark purple dress. Here's why I say Ohuhu has a lot of purples, but not a great selection of purples. These are like the more blue violet colors, and their color codes, by the way, are really off. If you're comparing them to, say, a color coding system like Arteza or Copic. But yeah, then you have like all these purples here, and these two, I swear to goodness, are the same color. Pale lilac and thistle. But yeah, you see that? Not close enough for blending purposes. So that's kind of my biggest gripe, is when you want to make a cool purple blend, you're like, ugh. See, because I'm picturing like a deep, rich purple dress. And granted, this is a single layer, so I would have to just layer it up. I think we'll go with these ones here. Let's see if there's a... I don't know if those are gonna work. Okay. Even if I wanted to do a deep blue, these two I swear are the same color too sometimes. They're not. PP3 is just ever so slightly different. Alright, yeah. Alright. I want to stick to cooler instead of warmer, so... Alright, I'm going to pick some colors and then we'll get back to her dress. Okay, we're going to try these. So I have R16, which is deep violet, P4, which is lavender, and V160, come on camera, V160, which is deep lilac. You can tell I've used these colors a lot. I'm a little nervous about this color combo. Oh, that is gunky. I need to clean that. But like I said, none of their purples really were designed to blend. We're gonna make them blend, but that just means we're gonna be layering. Okay. Ooh, that one's, I can't put that down on the table or the picture. So with the darkness, I guess you can't even tell what this is. It's R16. I'll set that off to the side. This is only gonna go in the very deepest of shadows because it is not close to the other ones whatsoever. Little skull is still wet. Okay. Then we're gonna grab P4. I'm just using those two colors. See, and this P4 is really bendy, but that's good because I want to smoosh all my colors together. When your markers are really wet, you can just see them gliding on top of the paper. Now we gotta be really careful to not stick our hand in it. All right, back to R16. Okay, and then P4. You won't see it a lot right now, but once it dries, you will. Okay, I'm gonna work this in small sections, not just for your benefit, but for mine, because we are going to be blending these out, and they're not gonna want to blend. So let's see, R16 again, that's our darkest color. Okay, and P4. I'm gonna go over this. Still in P4. We're gonna do a pleat at a time. Okay, then V160. Make sure you overlap your previous color and blend it out. Be careful though, because purples will separate as you blend if you're not careful. All right, now we're gonna go back in with P4 again. Like I said, this is gonna be one where we are layering quite a bit. But it's because I have a certain color in my head and they don't have it made. Now go back to our lightest color. Remember, your light color is always going to pull pigment from your other one. All right, I don't like the way that's turning out. Let's try R16 again. Let's put it here in the fold. And then P4. And our lightest color. I keep calling it our lightest color because I can't remember the color code. And even though I'm working on a paper that stays wet, I need to keep going. All right, back to our middle, which is P4. Because again, our light color can pull some color out. And then P4. All right, now we're on to our R16 again. Make all that dark in there. It'd help if I was on frame, wouldn't it? All right, then P4. And back to our latest one. Back to our P4. Also blend out some of that. Okay. Oops, almost grabbed our darkest color. That would have been bad. Back to our V whatever, our lightest color. There we go. Got fabric folds. All right. Let's see, grab our darkest again. Don't want to stick my hand into that dark puddle of alcohol ink I got going on right here. Go to our medium color. Lightest color. Okay, back to our medium. And back to our lightest. And you can always do these layers and then wait for it to dry and make sure you like it before you go in and add more. All right, now we're on to our darkest color again. I like how it's turning out right now, but it might look really ugly when it dries. Medium color. Now, if you struggle with purples, lightest color, purple is indeed one of the hardest to blend, medium color, when it comes to markers. Lightest color. So you're not alone. Okay. For this one, we just want our P4. But yeah, it's actually a really hard color to blend out. So yeah. Not just beginners struggle with purple. Lightest color. That might be alright. Alright. Bottom of the dress and going up. So we're on to our darkest color again, which is the R16. Let that go up against her hair. And let's see, bring that down here. Okay, now grab your P4. Blend it in without accidentally overtaking your hair. Really go over that line too, because I do not want that line to be there. colorless blender nearby in case you accidentally go over something. Oops, I already went over some of the jewelry. So I guess it's been decided that we will be doing gel pen. It's really hard to get in there without going over it. Lightest color. Go back in with my medium. Oh, it is really hard to get in there. I actually don't like that little strip in the middle, so we're just going to cover it. Okay. I think it's actually looking all right. These are really hard colors to blend. Okay, I didn't get her scalp. Take the medium color we did for scalp, which is Tea Rose E470. Just color in her scalp. Okay. Now we're going to take R16. Tiny little space that's here, and then P4. This one has a nib that's starting to fray, but that's okay. It might be easier. Well, I should. Breaking out the bullet nib ones would have been easier for her gloves, but what I was going to say is it might be easier to just go over the entire glove and then accent the lines with gel pen. Like maybe do gold gel pen so that it matches there, because otherwise we'll be at this for ages. So I think that's what we're going to do. Take our darkest color again, put that inside there. And off to the side here. All right, and then take our P4, just fill her in. Yeah, that's what we'll do. P4. This part you can kind of just wing it on. Okay, our darkest one. Yeah, I think that'll be easiest, especially for those who are new to markers and don't want to sit there and fiddle with the laces. Okay. All right. Now let's get our marker caps back on. Okay. I'm gonna use gel pen for down there as well. So we need to do her eyes. This one's kind of weird because it has 3 rings, but over here just 1. Definitely leaning towards green because I think green would accent the pink and the purple really well. Ooh, like G3 and G8. Let's see. Is that right? G3. Oh, that's GY. I was like, that's not right. Okay. So we have G3 glass green, not grass, G8 glass green and G3 ocean green. All right. I'm gonna make this whole thing her eyeball. Make sure you overlap the dark color. And then I'm just going to take my colorless blender and kind of at the bottom here, pull a little bit of that color up. There we go. Okay. Then let's take, let's see. So I never got their color code or color codes. Why it's like this. Neutral gray is CG020. CG, or is that a typo on my sheet? CG, no, it's not. All right, yeah, so CG020, which is neutral gray. Pop that in, because you know the whites of our eyes aren't really white. All right, and then let's see, for the, all right, let me go grab my glitter gel pen. It looks like we have some gems, so what I'm going to do is use those same colors that we used in her eyes. So we'll start with G3, G8, okay. Oh, looks like we have one down there too. Whoa. All right. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just take this Pentel Sparkle Pop. This is in gold, and I'm just going to go in every single little piece of jewelry. These are nice and opaque too, so if you got marker on them, no one will have to know. See? And then they're nice and sparkly. Ta-da! So I'm going to do that and outline all her jewelry, and then also I'm going to do that to her laces. Actually, I might do a different color on her laces. So yeah, outline her jewelry, and then also the buckles on her shoe. And then we need one more item. Okay, I'm going to take my Glitterific Fine in Black Opal. This is totally optional step, by the way. And ooh, stuff's starting to dry on me. That's not good. I'm just going to add it to her wings. Maybe. This paint is drying out on me. Gonna have to mix it with some water. It's almost the consistency of a Stickles now. I'm gonna grab a different brush. Well, since my glitterific is acting all dried up, I'm actually gonna take my black diamond Stickles, pour it out, and spread it across with a brush, keeping it just on her wings. And I want it flat. Stickles usually gives you that 3D pop, but that's not what I'm going for. I'm just using it purely like a glitter glaze because my other one doesn't want to work. Now Stickles will not dry completely flat, so just make sure your paint is as flat as you can get it. All right. See, so her wings sparkle a little. And then yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do my gold accents, and then for the white on the jewels, let me make sure your hand is your best tool when trying to get a gel pen to work. The white, I'm just gonna add if it will work, just take a gel pen to add your little white sparkle. I did leave the gray of her eye as is, and that was on purpose. You can of course go back in and change it. Now for her things here, because we have gold, I'm on the fence about what color I want to do her things in. So yeah, I'm gonna go in and do her gold accents. Wow, this Arteza doesn't want to work, does it? Come on. There we go. Just want to add a little gloss to her lips. I'm going to go in and do the gold accents throughout the page. And then when I come back, I will have hopefully decided how I want to handle her laces. Okay, so I went through and added the gold Pentel Sparkle Pop all over her jewelry. Hi there, Jets. Welcome to our color along. So I ended up using my Sakura, I forget what these are actually called, but basically the color is on the outline and then it's silver on the inside, only the color isn't showing. So it's really like lacy. I don't know if I like it, but it's kind of going to be stuck with me now. So yeah, it's kind of a, like it'll come out purple, but then it turns silver and then the purple borders it. I was hoping the purple would stand out a little more on the laces, but it didn't. Oh well. But the glitter on her wings is dry as well. And now we're just going to do the background, which I said we would do in Distress ink. So I am going to grab my brushes and some inks. And yeah, we will finish her up. Okay, so for this part, I just have some Distress ink in Dusty Concord. I've got my little inker brush. And I'm just gonna ink her up. Most important thing when you're doing this step is light pressure and then buff it out. You don't want to push too hard right when you put ink on the brush, otherwise it will leave a big dollop looking thing. And I'm varying up my pressure. So I want to like press down hard in one area, light in the other. Not really worried about the border. Can go out of the lines. Okay, so I'll be doing that around the whole thing, but then I'll also be with my little spritzer. Get off my marker. Don't want it on the marker. Even though it's alcohol ink and it's not going anywhere, I don't want my page to bubble where I have that. Make sure nothing's bubbling there. Okay. That one bubbled really interestingly. This paper does react different than like others to the water, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, see, I'll just keep going around. Okay, I'm buffing it out. I'm gonna have to fix my distress sprayer. I think it's got a clog. Okay. So I'm going to keep going around and spraying water and picking it up, and then I'll be back. And there we go. We have our belladonna. Now on this hammer mill, when you put the water down, especially if you get a big dollop on it, it will create like a more defined bubble. But I actually kind of like the way it looks. It's kind of cool. So yeah. Now we're all done. Everything is dry. And the marker, I think, turned out pretty good. I was worried about those purples, but I think they blended all right. She's got her gold sparkles and her glittery wings, so that part's always nice. And for the background, you can always go back in and add more. Like you can either come back in with another distress ink color. You could even come back and do, you know, some stickles or anything if you just feel it's too bland. But I feel it has enough texture, so I'm going to leave it as is. But yeah, this was just a quick and easy little color along. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, take care. Bye now.